All right. So today we're going over mindset shifts, which is really exciting. I feel like I try to have a good balance between very nutrition focused, very like hormone focused workouts, but honestly, it's a huge, huge important part of this whole thing of being successful and being your healthiest self. Uh, does require like the mindset aspect. And I think it's really overlooked a lot of times, or maybe it's kind of disregarded or discredited as sort of like a woo woo thing. I'm telling you, it will change everything. And that's one of the biggest things that I see transform with people over a 6 months or 12 months of coaching with me. Sometimes they come and they already are eating really good quality foods and they're already in the gym and all that. And we just find those like little mindset or those limiting beliefs that have actually been dictating their subconscious and really playing out, some negative patterns and been the biggest thing holding them back. Also, always a reminder that your thoughts are your hormones, basically, right? We can all agree that when we're on our period, maybe you're a little bit more irritable, you have some crazy negative self talk about yourself, or maybe you're just a little bit more easily like to cry, all of that. So we know that our hormones affect our thoughts. It goes the other way too. So if you're constantly having negative thoughts about yourself, if you're not having any idea as to like where your energy and your attention is going, and maybe if you're using more of like negative punishment or positive reinforcement or all of those like different types of strategies with psychology, if you are not aware of what you're doing in your own mind, that'll definitely have an effect on your cortisol levels and therefore all of your hormones. So, hormones also start with your thoughts. So, let's get right into it. So, 5 mindset shifts for your healthiest self. So, number one, addition over subtraction. We usually want to make a change because we don't like something about ourselves or our lives or how we feel. So, what's the answer? Let's get rid of it, right? And that's just with anything. A big motivator for change is, either like a negative motivator, I don't want something, or a positive motivator, I want something. But even when we want something, it's usually because we don't like where we're currently at. So, kind of basing things off of like the negative, which is okay if you want to change something. Same thing when it comes to like your health, though. You want to focus on like cutting out things or getting rid of things. And that mindset is really for beginners. And that's for a lot of people who have not been able to see consistent results or have not really found a way to make it a true lifestyle to where they don't have to like start and stop and start and stop. If you're in that like that mindset of getting rid of things, that's a huge thing that could be holding you back. Humans work so much better with positives rather than negatives. Cause I mean, even just like think about it, we can visualize something like coming to fruition, but it's really hard to try to just use like willpower or taking something away. So instead of focusing on what to remove from your life, whether that's alcohol, partying, junk food, ice cream, snacks, carbs, those are the biggest things that I hear people that say they just want to get rid of. They just want to stop doing that. Instead, I want you to focus on what are you going to add into your life instead of those things or replace them with. So for example, if you are, noticing that you're just going out every night, maybe you have a paint night instead, or maybe you have game nights instead. You have to have something to replace it with, right? Instead of just like sitting at home and thinking, oh, I should be going out, or just having no game plan. Your body's always going to act out of the patterns. It's always going to reenact something that it's been through, even if you don't want it to. So you have to have something to replace it with. Same thing, like if you're out socializing and you always have a drink in your hand and you don't know what to do, or how to not drink alcohol, I want you to just instead focus on what are we going to replace that with. I think you just posted that you had like some seltzer and like a wine glass or something, like so cute. Replacing something like that with like just fruit water. Maybe you can make a whole batch of like water and add different cucumbers, lemons, strawberries, and have different concoctions, or just coconut water, or even just try some different non-alcoholic beverages or functional drinks. Or same thing if you're just like, I, don't like how I spend my days after work or whatever. I don't like how I spend my weekends and whatnot. Maybe incorporate hot girl walks, or just focusing on adding things into your diet. I think a lot of times it's like, okay, I need to eat less. I need to cut out the ice cream. I need to cut out the sugars. Okay, what are we going to add instead? What are we going to focus on adding? You're going to get so much more if we focus on the adding than the subtracting. So more protein, more veggies, more fruit, more sleep. Now, if we do all those things, if we hit your protein goal, your veggie goal, and your fruit goal, and you still want those things like ice cream or snacks or whatever, then that's how we will form a good relationship with foods and be able to find that balance and not feel like we're just constantly restricting or trying to like fight those thoughts of cravings or whatever. Also, the all or nothing mindset. So it's number two. It's the worst. This will say most counterproductive mindset. Again, a lot of beginners seem to have this, thinking that like 1 or 2 weeks. So let's say you're going on vacation and you go on a week-long cruise, then you come back and you're sick. So it's a whole 2 weeks of not working out or not eating high protein or not hitting your steps, and you feel like you've lost all your progress. Or the opposite, you've been really consistent, really on your shit for 1 to 2 weeks, and you feel like that consistency is going to create a lot of progress. Neither are true, okay? What matters is what you do a majority of the time. And what matters is what you can sustain, aka like enjoy. You're not going to sustain something that you enjoy. I hope you don't. I hope you don't live the rest of your life or even a year of your life like doing things that you don't enjoy or things that you hate. We have to find what you like. That's how you're going to be able to stick to it. Also, just what fits your schedule and whatnot. So what matters is what you do a majority of the time. 1 or 2 weeks is not going to ruin everything. One meal is not going to ruin everything, but also one meal is, or one workout is not going to improve everything. So getting rid of the all or nothing mindset, because it really is just a subconscious way to use guilt and shame as your motivators, and those just don't work. It literally just does not work. And if you are, and it could work for a short period of time, right? You could hate yourself so much that you just immediately get up and go to the gym. I did that so many times when I was like in college. I would be at the beach or like out day drinking with my friends. Literally, I do not recommend this, but drunk. And, we would take a picture at the bar, and I hated how I looked, and I would literally instantly go to the gym. Even if I had alcohol and whatnot, I literally ended up hurting myself. So I really do not recommend that. But taking those actions out of self-hate or out of shame or guilt, what maybe after Thanksgiving dinner, the next morning you want to go and do an hour of cardio or push off breakfast. These are not going to be sustainable, and it's just not healthy. If you're going for the goal of feeling healthy and, long-term results and enjoying the process and feeling good and thriving, these are not actions that lead to that. These are not beliefs that lead to that. It really will only elevate your cortisol levels, which will rise, more or cause more inflammation in your body. It'll downregulate your immune system. And it will also just overall increase the barriers between where you are and where you want to be. So we're going to kind of go off of that. So lower the risk slash barriers. So number three, lowering the risks. So if you're going to hate yourself after that cookie, and if that's what you've been using is like guilt or shame or whatever, or if just, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hate myself if I miss this workout. I'm totally a piece of shit. Like who I am, like I'm just a loser. I can't get this thing figured out. I can't be sustainable. It just isn't for me. You are putting way too much weight into it. Way too much weight. Okay. Keep things light and low pressure. At the same time, you want to make sure that you keep promises to yourself and that you're respecting your personal boundaries, right? You're showing yourself that you can take care of yourself. You know when something is important. You're able to kind of like be a parent, that internal loving parent to yourself. But your entire identity and self-worth isn't put into that action, right? If your self-worth, your self-talk, the way you view yourself, everything, if that's going to shift based off of, a vacation or having a couple donuts or whatever it is, you're putting way too much weight into it. You're creating more resistance around where you want to be. You're making the barrier really difficult. Okay. So you got to lower those, like lower the risk. Number four, act as your healthiest self. And when I say act, I should write think, because think is the first thing that happens. Your thoughts create your beliefs. So if you think something so many times, it turns into your belief. Okay. Your beliefs create your actions. So if you believe something, that's what is the driving force between doing things, right? If you believe that you are a fitness coach, you're going to show up and do fitness coach things, and you're going to show up to your job depending on, whatever it is that you believe. Or if you believe, in monogamy, you're not going to cheat on your partner or whatever, right? Like those core beliefs, they show up as your actions, and your actions that is your reality. Your actions compounded over time, that is your reality. So first of all, if you don't like your reality, and even if that's just your physical body, which your physical body is just a manifestation of what it has been through, whether what you have done to it, or maybe like even just like your sitting postures, your body's just constantly molding, it's constantly adapting to whatever environment it has been in. So if something is, if you're not happy with your reality, your external reality, your internal reality, it all starts from your thoughts. So we have to work backwards. So show up, speak, and act as your highest self. How does she dress? What does her schedule look like? How much screen time does she have? Who is she when she's not around? What does she choose off the menu when she's out? How does she spend her weekends? Get crystal clear and visualize to know how it feels to live as her right now. Right. So your healthiest self, your end goal, the girl that has lost the 20 pounds or that has a better relationship with food, you have to really be able to visualize her and embody her thoughts, her actions, and how does it feel to be her today, right now? What does she think? What are the thoughts that goes on in her head? Maybe you can just, if it's hard to think about it as you, maybe find whoever your fitness inspiration is, or your celebrity crush, or whoever you just really idolize and look up to. What do you think is going on in their head? And think those thoughts, right? If you want to live their type of life, or somebody that has like a really healthy lifestyle, what do you think are the thoughts that go on in their head? And try to think them. Those thoughts will then become your beliefs, which will become your actions, and therefore your reality. Number 5 is so important, and this is a huge aspect of what I want to incorporate into your check-ins. So I ask these questions for a reason. Celebrate every single win. Every single win, even the small, unseemingly significant ones or insignificant ones. So let's say, you did not track your food, you didn't hit your macros, you ate McDonald's every single day, you didn't get your workouts in, whatever it was, you were on vacation, but you hit your steps. I want you to celebrate the shit out of that. I want you to really focus on hitting your steps and recognize that you're proud of yourself, right? All successful people in the world recognize and celebrate their wins. Seriously, it really is a commonality between everyone who's ever been successful. You got to recognize the wins. You got to recognize when things are going well. Unsuccessful people, they're focusing on their losses, their failures, their setbacks, the excuses, the things that aren't going well. Where attention goes, energy flows. So you're either in the victor mindset or the victim mindset. And again, those beliefs, those mindsets are going to manifest into your reality. So the more you feel accomplished, the more you feel happy, the more that you will do something, right? Like you'll want to go towards that. The brain always seeks pleasure, it avoids pain. Oop. So I wanted to also kind of go off on that as far as like avoiding pain, and that can kind of tie that back in with, I think it was like number 3, lowering the risk and barriers. So if you're associating like your fitness journey, your weight loss journey with pain, meaning that you're always utilizing negative self-talk, and you've always hated yourself, you hate negative, or like you hate healthy foods, you hate dieting, whatever it is, you hate the gym, all of that, like you're gonna, or even you just beat yourself up. So even if you like doing these things, but you just really beat yourself up when you don't go, when you don't hit your macros, you're really hard on yourself when you look in the mirror at your progress pictures, your brain is going to want to like avoid that pain. So it's going to want to avoid the whole thing in general, right? You're going to create a lot of resistance and like a negative connotation and negative tie around health and fitness. So that's why that mindset really is just not helpful at all. Focus on the wins, celebrate the wins. All right. That's it. Any comments, questions, concerns, anything that hit, resonated?
Definitely a vulnerability moment. Talking about how, beginners and our mindsets, and, sometimes you think, oh, I messed up this week, or these 2 weeks. Oh, this set me back so much. I had one of those days last week. I was in my luteal phase. It was a rough time, and it was literally just one day, and I got so down on myself. So definitely relevant, and, celebrating a win, turned it around and journaled that night and got all my thoughts down and had a better day the next day. So yeah, lots of really poignant, good stuff. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And also so true to point out in your luteal phase. Anytime, if I see a check-in and the first thing is like, I hate how everything fits on me, I have really low energy, yada yada, super stressed, all that, whatever, very irritable. First thing I look at is, all right, what phase of your cycle are you in? And it's interesting to be able to note that. I'm the same way in my luteal phase. Oh my gosh. I literally the other day, it was like crying out of road rage because somebody flicked me off. I was not experiencing road rage, but literally somebody flicked me off, and I actually had tears coming down my face. And I was like, what is going on? This is not normal. So yeah, just knowing where you're at in your cycle is definitely important to assess your mindset. Cool. Anybody else? Nope. All right, cool. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for spending your Tuesday evening with me. This will be recorded and posted in the Zoom vault. Yeah, you guys are the best. Thanks again. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.